Once hailed as the guiding light of global democracy, the United States of America now stands exposed, a superpower draped in dysfunction, a democracy riddled with decay. From unvetted borders to chaotic elections, partisan warfare, and a media that prefers propaganda over accountability. America's decline is a cautionary tale for the world, a tale of arrogance, incompetence, and collapse. Namaskar, I'm Anubhav Ranjan and you're watching Ritam. Today, let's unravel the tangled mess that is American democracy. This is no longer the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's the land of crisis and the home of contradictions. Let's dissect why the so-called beacon of democracy is flickering, perhaps irreparably. First, the border crisis, a glaring wound in the American political landscape. Since President Joe Biden's administration took office, over 8 million migrant encounters have been recorded, including 1.7 million gotaways, illegal immigrants who have successfully evaded law enforcement and entered the country undetected. This collapse in border security didn't just happen, it was fueled by a swift dismantling of Trump-era policies without viable replacements. Now, pivot to gun control. The United States endures over 600 mass shootings annually, a horrifying statistic that paints a grim picture of a society desensitized to violence. Despite this, Congress remains paralyzed by ideological purity. Republicans refuse to act, prioritizing their allegiance to the powerful gun lobby over the safety of their citizens. The media, once a watchdog for the democracy, has become its lapdog. It ignored President Biden's cognitive struggles for years, only admitting the obvious after a disastrous debate performance in 2024. Meanwhile, glaring inconsistencies like the media's silence on Hunter Biden's pardon for crimes once dismissed as Russian disinformation undermine their credibility further. Even the electoral process, the cornerstone of any democracy, is in shambles. With ballots cast weeks in advance, unsupervised drop boxes, and states like California allowing vote harvesting, the system is a patchwork of chaos. The lack of uniformity across states and the prolonged counting of votes, sometimes weeks after election day, reduce confidence in the integrity of outcomes. Historically, America prided itself on efficiency and innovation, but those ideals seem distant now. In the 2000 presidential election, the infamous Florida recount highlighted flaws in the system. Instead of reform, America allowed its electoral dysfunction to fester. In 2024, the dysfunction reached new heights. While President-elect Donald Trump announced his cabinet picks, votes were still being counted in some states. Among his selections in Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democratic lawmaker, vilified by her own party and the media for her independence stance. Critics accuse her of having sympathy for dictators, but this hypocrisy rings hollow in light of the democratic establishment's own dubious decisions. So what does this mean for America's future and for the world? These impacts are dire. With unchecked immigration, rising violence, and compromised elections, the US has become a case study in how not to govern. If this is what a global superpower looks like, the world must reconsider its administration. America's democracy, once envied, now serves as a grim warning. Unchecked arrogance and systematic neglect lead not to greatness but to irrelevance.